Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And Sentinels back on top of the Halo world. The OpTic Halo team doesn't get the result they were looking for this event. FormaL explaining exactly why he thinks that might have been the case. But also on the Call of Duty side, the London Royal Ravens, another team to make a change ahead of the Pro-Am Classic it seems. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'll greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. All that good stuff. Let's dive into the Kansas City event that went on then, as FormaL says. Another Championship Sunday. Let's see what's in store for today. Certainly kind of OpTic and Cloud9 went in as the favourites, and then Sentinels, the kind of like classic Halo team from like the former world champions of course, they come through to reclaim their throne. We'll see what exactly went down. First of all, wanted to mention this though, because well, crowdfunding was going on here in the Halo side. Like, they are doing a lot of things right, there's no doubt. This is the base prize pool here on the left hand side, gets bumped up by another 100 grand because of crowdfunding. So effectively I'm guessing this is kind of revenue generated by skin sales is then added to the total prize pool. Right? It's really cool. We've been kind of wanting to see this in Call of Duty for a rather long time at this point, and it hasn't happened yet for some reason, right? And of course the skins that are in Halo are way better than what they put into the COD games anyway, but still it does just go to show how you can, well, improve things, right? And let's say they did this for champs or something in Call of Duty, they could really step it up to a new level, but so yeah, seemingly not the thing as of yet. This also from Scump. Halo Watch Party was finally back on stream last night for the first time in a rather long time, talked about the fact that like he's kind of struggles to find a balance between competing and actually you know, streaming, right, and stuff like this. He usually goes all in on one or the other and then he gets burnt out and needs a bit of a break, as he's kind of had in this mid-season, right? So he's going to try and find a better balance going forwards. But yeah, he was doing a Halo Watch Party last night, and let's dive into what went on the OpTic side. So they played E United first of all. There were the two kind of winners semis that went on. OpTic destroyed E United 3-0, like you know, maybe not destruction in terms of the actual map results, but you know, 3-0 nonetheless. And Sentinels, this is really the interesting one though, because they took down at Cloud9 3-1. That was when people were like, okay, hang on a second here, because OpTic had secured their spot in the winners finals. Most people thought, okay, Cloud9 are going to come through, defending champions, right? They've been the dominant force so far here in Halo Infinite, and then Sentinels, of course, the team of Snakebite, Frosty, Lethal, and Royal 2, Royal 1 being the coach, like an OG team. They haven't really found their groove as maybe they have done in previous Halo games so far here in Infinite, but they come out and 3-1 Cloud9, an incredibly impressive result, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, wow, hang on a second, Sentinels really back in business, right? So Cloud9 go down to losers, they complete their run relatively comfortably back to top 3 at the very least, but of course next up it's going to be FormaL versus the Sentinels guys that he subbed in for, right, to that earlier event of the season when Royal 2 got that suspension and FormaL subbed in for him, and they had a pretty decent result. I think they came top 6, top 4 or something. They beat OpTic actually at that event, so maybe it was top 4 they came in the end. And I thought this is kind of crazy, right, that it was only a couple of years ago in the Call of Duty world in Modern Warfare when FormaL and Frosty were playing against each other for a spot in the CDL final. I guess that was when, well, I don't know, there was probably a Huntsman versus Florida match at some point or another in a semi-final of one of these online tournaments, and you know, Frosty was such a crucial part of those Florida teams that went on to win 3 tournaments, I believe, throughout the Modern Warfare season. Yes, just online games, but you know, still pretty impressive, right? And that was the thing, going into Cold War, I was surprised that Florida didn't decide to keep Frosty on, because I believe that Frosty still would have played in Call of Duty in the Black Ops Cold War season if they'd have given him the opportunity to do so on Florida or another team, but he eventually gets kicked out of the CDL, despite the fact that arguably Florida really needs someone who's actually a winner on their team, and I'm sure he's going to continue to do great things in Call of Duty, right? Back in Black Ops 4, and also, you know, Modern Warfare as well, he was a really crucial part to the success that Enigma 6 and Florida Mutineers respectively had. So he has to take some time out. Halo Infinite comes out, and now he looks like one of the best players in the game and gets back to the top as well. So anyway, this game was pretty incredible. OpTic won the game 1, Sentinels took the game 2, and you know, FormaL was making some good plays here. FormaL played great all tournaments, apart from crucially really game 5 of this series, where you know, they played up against Sentinels on well, of course, the Slayer game 5, and didn't really go to plan, right? But I think really what FormaL believes was the dagger was this game right here. So the street oddball, a crazy end to this oddball, goes the way to round 3. There's only a few seconds on the clock, and Sentinels just pick up the ball to get to 67-66 with a 1-point advantage, and then they can drop it on the floor, and that's going to be good enough to get them over the line as the clock ticks down. So just honestly, just crazy stuff. There's no way OpTic really should have lost this one, but Sentinels win it anyway. They take it all the way to game 5, and that's the thing. When OpTic go up 2-1 in a situation like this, you lose a dagger game 4. It's so hard to regain, and game 5 doesn't go their way either. FormaL goes like 4-14, 4-15 or something, so of course on Slayer, that's not going to be ideal. They drop down to the losers bracket, but yeah, Sentinels, after all that, they go on to the grand finals. Crazy stuff that's happened in the Halo world the last several months. And OpTic just couldn't regain like any of the momentum that they lost after that series, right? That one map loss, it seems, in that game 4 just really, well, sent them on the downward spiral. They go up against Cloud9 and get 3-0'd, right? So this is kind of a matchup that everyone was hoping to see. OpTic versus Cloud9. Could they kind of repeat the success they had online against Cloud9 when it would happen on LAN? But yeah, the momentum was just not in their favor at all. That's the thing with the way these kind of runs go. You drop down to losers against a very hot team, you get 3-0'd. But you know, unfortunate stuff for sure. But Cloud9 move on to the grand finals. We'll see how that went in a second. But as FormaL says, there's kind of explaining why he feels like they fell out, because they came in here arguably as favourites for this tournament, and as he says, fell apart after that Street Oddball versus Sentinels sucks, just wasn't on the cards, we move on. GG's to everyone we played this weekend, we'll see you next time, right? So look, we'll see how it goes for them going forwards, but unfortunately, it's going to be quite some time until we actually get another Halo event, right, and time they can prove themselves that they're not just onliners, right, because I think there's, Cloud9 had some words across the stage after they beat them in that LAN match, being like, okay, you guys are just doing it online in that FaZe Invitational, right, so it's going to take quite some time for OpTic to prove otherwise, and even Clayster kind of comes into this and says he's one of the ultimate daggers of these open tournaments, up in a winners finals 2-1, tasting the winners bracket advantage in the grand finals, only to lose the game 4 and a grinder game 5, then an hour later you're out of the tourney. So many highs, so many lows, he certainly wants to get back into competing. We'll actually see that here in just a second, but incredible scenes as Cloud9 go into the finals against Sentinels and get 4-0 waxed. After the way the first few months of Infinite have gone, I did not think Sentinels, this team as it is, you thought, legendary team, no doubt, but I still thought they would struggle to really match up, at least nowadays, to what Cloud9 and OpTic are bringing to the table, but, they managed to do it. Congratulations to these guys, Frosty, Lethal, Snakebite, and Royal 2, Royal 1, of course, as coach as well. They've been around for so many years and back on top in pretty dominant fashion, it must be said. Beating OpTic the way they did, taking down a hot Cloud9 team and losers, and, as Frosty says, Kansas City major champion, so incredible stuff, what Frosty's been capable of doing from the Call of Duty days, now back to Halo, still making it work out over there, and, this also to FormaL, right, because he did play fantastically well this tournament for the OpTic Halo team, as HES say they give him the USMC or whatever, best support player awards, so he still walks away with something, but of course third place isn't really going to cut it for where this team wanted to be going into the weekends, and top 3 at HES Kansas City, so you would think, okay, look, they've got time to redeem themselves relatively soon. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. I know that Halo is kind of obviously planned to be a many-year game and cycle, but it does still surprise me that the Kansas City major was just concluded here on the 1st of May, as we just saw. The next event that's really going to go down, the next major event, there's some things in between here in July and stuff, but the next actual major 3 is all the way in Orlando, Florida in September. It's that's the next chance they have 5 months away, 4 or 5 months away to actually kind of, come back on this, right? And then the World Championship in October. So, to me, strange format. Not sure why there isn't another couple of majors thrown in here, but, we'd like to see that, of course, in the Call of Duty side as well. Very much intrigued to your thoughts and all that stuff in the comment section below, though. Definitely wanted to dive into the Call of Duty stuff that was going down last night, though, because, wow, more roster changes seemingly going down. We talked about what's happening with OpTic yesterday, right, and the fact that he's probably going to be out of the team, or, well, he's going to be out of the team for this Prime Classic. Seems like another change coming through for the London Royal Ravens. As yet, it's not fully clear why this change is necessitated, but, as Chrome points out, sources say that the London Royal Ravens are expected to start Harry over Gizmo. Therefore, the European Ultra Academy are left with a 4th player, just days from the Prime Classic. So this raises so many implications. This is what Crone describes here in the article, that, Gizmo's going to be out and Harry is going to be in. We haven't seen Harry sub in for the team yet. We did see Hicksy sub in for the Toronto Ultra earlier on the season, but, Harry, I believe, is kind of basically a flex main assault rifle type player, AR type player, that can fit in for Gizmo rather well. But very interesting, right, because Gizmo at the start of the season was incredibly good. He was no doubt probably the best, kind of rookie player, right? He was number 1 on pretty much all the leaderboards at the start of the year. But, they wanted to place 3rd despite Gizmo struggling at the event, with personal issues that he said. He flew back home for a couple of weeks, and they played with Paul X, and looked very good with Paul X, it must be said. Then Gizmo comes back, and, still he looked okay, but didn't quite look as good as they were before. They placed top 8 at Major 2 despite some decent results in their kind of online qualifiers. Now, Gizmo's been met with another roadblock. It's not yet confirmed why this exactly is the case. I imagine it's again personal situations and issues that he's going with, so hopefully that all goes okay. But, I don't imagine it's performance related, just based on the tweets that we'll see here in a second, but maybe it possibly is, who knows. And as Crone says, Harry is expected to make his debut for the franchise this weekend in his place. The reasoning for this potential move is currently unknown, as well if the change is intended as a permanent move or just temporary, right? So Harry is currently on loan to Toronto Ultra's European Academy, right? He's kind of a London player, but they came up with an arrangement that he could kind of be lent to Toronto, but the problem is now that London have said, okay, we need you. So Toronto's European Academy team going into this weekend is faced with a bit of a predicament, to be honest, right? So the team was set to leave for North America in just a few days. Now they need a new player, and they're going to need an assault rifle player. Very interesting, right? They're looking to potentially scout America for an assault rifle player, and who could that potentially be? We'll see someone in the replies here in just a second. But they were kind of talking about this in the reply actually, because as Octane says, okay, what's going on? And then Zero tweets this out, kind of an image with all the guys. You can't quite see. You can see Nasty on the left here, Afro, and then Gizmo as well. So Gizmo's there with the team, so I'm guessing it's kind of personal stuff. We know these 4 guys get on very well, so it'd be a surprise if they decide to make a roster change that isn't kind of necessitated or forced for some personal situation, whatever exactly it might be. So I kind of looked through Gizmo's tweets, didn't see anything specific. specific. Thought this was funny from Sash actually. How do I know that's the real Gizmo and not the cardboard cutout? Because when he was back in the UK dealing with the personal issues the first time around, they had like a cardboard cutout of him in the US. They could kind of still keep the team together. But yeah, certainly interesting stuff, right? If Harry comes in, and of course, what that does mean is Ultra Academy Europe need another player. Who could that potentially be? But none other than Clayster, right? As he says, left without a fourth. You say, could he potentially come in? That team of like Steve Vortex, Beans, and Furious, like they need an AR player. They're going to be in the group with OpTic, right? And Florida Mutineers and the Minnesota Rokkr. Really interesting group because you've got Florida in there, of course, who haven't made any changes, but they've kind of on the uppers of late. Minnesota Rokkr, they made a roster change, and also we've got the OpTic guys making a, well, bringing General in for Illy due to the thumb injury that Illy picked up that we looked at last night, right? So what does this exactly mean for the group, and what does this mean for kind of, Clayster in general? Could Clayster go onto that team and actually be their AR? Because why not, really? What's the chance? Like, I think he was saying that he was kind of frying in the trials that he got in some of the CDL teams, so maybe he says, look, give me a go, it's time to make it happen, right? And Clayster versus OpTic, again, that's always a good time. It's just great stuff all across the board, but London, of course, that kind of puts him in a bit of a predicament, because they're in Group C alongside the Los Angeles Thieves, the New York Subliners, of course, that are, we believe, making a change, Kismet coming in for Neptune, and then they've also got Team War in there as well. So that's the thing, I'm sure if you're Los Angeles Thieves and you're the New York Subliners, you're pretty happy to see this news, right? Because London, in theory, should have been the favourites, I guess, for this group. Now, with Harry, who knows what's going to happen, whether they can kind of adapt quickly enough or whatever, like, I'm sure he can fit in rather nicely. I think he has some experience also playing with some of these guys. And, going into the season, people were wondering, okay, Gizmo, I think there was even a point for a time, like, okay, Harry, Gizmo were kind of two of the big names floated for this spot on the team, this kind of flex spot. Gizmo ends up getting the shot, does very well at the start of the year, but Harry could equally well fit that role, right? Who knows how it's going to go? Maybe they play with a bit more freedom, but yeah, again, that's the kind of annoying thing here for the Prime Classic, really, is that we've seen more teams not having their full rosters, right? So it's not like it takes legitimacy away, but like, let's say FaZe go on to win comfortably, there's always going to be that small asterisk, like, okay, well, if OpTic were their full strength, if they had Illy, like, would it have been a different story, right? So there's always that potential kind of lurking in the background there, but yeah, if Clayster does get to join at the, like, Ultra EU Academy, like, they let him in there, like, that'd be absolutely phenomenal scene, to be honest. See if he can, well, help that team get out of the group, right? Definitely some talented players on that roster, so we'll see how it goes. I'm sure they would relish the chance to play with Clayster as well, actually, because, who knows, if they impress him next season, if there's expansion, or if Clayster kind of gets to build a team again, he might pick one of those guys up, who knows? Definitely get some interesting stuff to come. This also to mention, because we talked about FormaL and, of course, the OpTic Halo team a bit earlier, this, I believe, is just his kind of Call of Duty career, but yeah, 71 tournaments he played, that's a crazy amount of tournaments anyway, 518 in 210 series win-loss, almost 2,000 map wins, 31 finals appearances, 23 tournament wins, of course, a world title to go along with it, and well, just about in the positive CDL KT over his career. I'm pretty sure Lineman updates the graphic as well to make it look slightly more flattering, but I'm not sure it really worked, to be honest. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hitting the like button, tells you YouTube gods, this is a good video, and as like you should see it as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty and maybe Halo communities as well. Thanks for watching as always, take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.